Hi, and thank you for joining me for another short talk. And friends, there's really no way around it. Around the fact that converts, as an unwritten rule, are grossly mistreated in the Jewish world today. And that's really just the way it is. However, something that I find greatly paradoxical is that the same individuals who do the mistreating, no matter on how the mistreatment is displayed, will always, virtually always, echo the statements on how extra special and holy converts are, or how the convert is actually closer to the Creator and places the Creator more than born Jews. And tonight, my friends, I really want to explore this phenomenon. And let me start out by saying, friends, we have to stop overly praising converts and stop putting the convert on such a magical pedestal, mainly because what you end up doing is that you end up separating the convert from any logical status that you can relate with, and thus only end up enforcing the resentment that already exists in the Jewish world for those who convert. Not that we should deduce in any way from the practical difficulties that converts face, because yes, converts do go through a lot, but in some way, by just developing mystical embellishments out of thin air, we actually end up hurting the convert than just not saying anything at all. In other words, the only thing that both Torah Shebiktav and Halakha ever required of Klal Yisrael towards converts was only that they treat them as equals, nothing more and nothing less. Actually, there's no pasuk nor halakha anywhere that ever asked for these over-embellishments. Why do you think so? Friends, because the Creator knew what would happen if they did, which is exactly what is happening today, right? Someone meets a convert that for whatever reason they may not find particularly impressive, but wait, they think to themselves, my teachers always told me on how special these individuals are and how holy. So, of course, they conclude that this individual must not be a sincere convert, right? He is what they call today a fake convert, a status that, as you already know, never existed in the past. And friends, it's really that simple. And they even get the rabbi who oversaw the conversion involved, thinking that it must be the fault of the person performing the conversion, which actually got us to where we are today, where we limit who can perform conversions so that they can get converts which are more to their liking. When according to Jewish law, my friends, any Jew can oversee a conversion. Are you beginning to see where I'm going with this? And it's also very similar to the Kabbalistic notion of the Besheret, right? You have people walking around looking for a spouse who, as the mystics teach, fully completes their soul in every way, their other half. And in this search for this imaginary character, they have you disregarding every person you thought was good, but not your Besheret. And they wonder why there's a shit crisis today. And friends, I remember once I was reading one of the famous Emunah series Breslov books that we see all over the place today, and it stated on how women are intrinsically endowed with a higher sense of spirituality compared to a man, which then obviously only makes men feel that even when their wife is clearly wrong, she is probably right. And yes, friends, you probably won't believe me, but in the same book, it stated the exact same thing. That a man should just agree with his wife, even though he knows that she's wrong, because of this embellishment, right? This notion that they are on a higher madrega, on a higher spiritual level. In other words, friends, equality of the sexes wasn't enough. Are you beginning to hear me, friends? This actually hurts women. But I guess it doesn't matter, because being mystically inclined typically means not taking responsibility for the results of your actions. In other words, virtually any type of intrinsic virtue that mystical Judaism tries to implant in people typically just ends up hurting the situation. Honestly, I consider the love or desire for all these embellishments equivalent to the desire leftists have for more and bigger government. In contrary to the notion that sometimes less is actually more, right? We should realize, just as the Torah itself doesn't feel a need to overly embellish people's statuses or circumstances, that, you know what, we shouldn't either. Honestly, friends, Judaism needs a mystical detox, mainly because these agadot were never meant to be taken literally in the first place, right? The problem is that the lazy rabbis of today are just that, too lazy to teach Judaism properly, so they make no distinction between what's optional to believe and what's obligatory to believe. In other words, in regard to a convert, just treat them like you would treat any Jew, and that would be enough. And in regards to your wife, treat her as your equal, and that would be enough. Because all these unrealistic embellishments just let people down in the end. Because honestly, friends, the target of your embellishments don't really believe it themselves, like the overemphasis the mystical movements of today put on how special Jews are by just being Jewish, not necessarily religious, compared to the rest of the world. Honestly, friends, no Jew actually believes this, which is why it just drives the average Jew even further from religion, because they begin to think that if your God is so wrong on this area, what else is he wrong about? When Hashem himself never made such claims, because again, Torah never praises anyone because of some sort of intrinsic worth. And to quote Sphora of Dennis Prager, friends, in life things either confirm the obvious or are typically wrong. For more information about everything Jewish, please visit TorahJudaism.org. Thank you.